This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Good morning, guys. So today we'll get started with the Azure Artifacts, which is one of the features of Azure DevOps. If you once you log into Azure DevOps portal, you will see all the available features right on the left hand side. Your pipelines, repos, and then boards. And Azure Artifacts is one of them basically. So what's the advantage of this, and why should people use it? Okay.
Mm,
Okay. Let me share my screen. I think I'm not
Yeah.
sharing. Hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do we need Azure Artifacts? So you call it as an artifactory. Okay, there are many artifactories. The way you have many artifactories, sorry, many DevOps tools for CI/CD pipeline. In the same way, you have many artifact tools in the market. Basically, the most famous one is uh, sonatype Nexus, Nexus Nexus, and other one is a jfrog artifactory. Okay, and Azure Artifacts is from the Microsoft basically. What it is for? It is for developers to share and consume packages from different feeds and public registries. That means, if you remember, we are having the Nuget right in our .NET projects. From the Nuget repository, we are downloading all the reusable components. The example that you can remember is Selenium. For Selenium, we needed some Selenium WebDriver to run our Selenium functional test cases, right? Automated functional test cases. And we used a library called WebDriver, and we downloaded it from Nuget.org, right? Uh, so from the Visual Studio. Okay. So that means somebody developed it and shared it with us via Nuget.org, and they stored it there. So each and everyone is downloading from there and utilizing it. Similarly, if you want to share, if I mean internal, let us say internal to your organization, you have hundreds of teams or tens of teams working on different projects. They also might have developed some reusable components, right? If they want to share it with other teams, so that other teams do not need to reinvent the wheel, right? They can reuse that package developed by other people. So how do you share it? Okay, in general, if you see, if somebody develops something, what they do, they keep it in some shared folder and give access to the people, and they email it to all the teams saying, hey, I have this package developed and I kept it in the shared folder, take it from there. So that's how people do it, right, via shared folders, right? But what is the disadvantage? Whenever you have an update, you have to again update the shared folder, and that and then you have to intimate each and every team who is consuming it, and it is up to the other developers whether they take it or don't take it. You don't have any control, and you don't have any visibility basically. And every development team or developer will use their own shared folder. You don't have any track of how many reusable components are there, and where they are located, who is the owner. You don't even have a track of that one as well. So these are all the disadvantages basically. So Artifactory is a tool where you can keep it in a structured way, and you have a proper UI, and people can develop their packages and push it to the Artifactory, and from the Artifactory all the different teams, internal or external people, can go ahead and download from there basically. So we don't need any manual communication and updates to any each and every team basically. Okay.
Who will certify those codes?
What is that? So
Who will certify that? I mean, like, whether that is correct or not.
yeah, so we are not going to simply ask them to keep it in the Azure artifact. We use the CI pipeline basically here. That's what. Okay. Because
Uh,
when your artifact will be created, artifact means your DLL, exe, jar, var files. How they will be created? When you build the pipe, when you build the project, then only you will get the artifacts, right?
yeah.
Artifact means executable components of your code, isn't it? It's not a code. it's executable version of your code, right? So when you build it, you get the artifacts. So as a DevOps engineer, you take their projects and build it and push it to the artifactory basically. Okay. Here our artifactory name is Azure Artifacts. Okay.
Hmm.
And other one, as I told you, let me show it quickly basically. Okay. So our Azure Artifactory supports all different types of artifacts. That means Nuget means for .NET, NPM means for Node.js, React, etc. Python, Maven for the Java basically. When you build the Java libraries, Java application in our POC, you could see it was downloading the reusable components from Maven repository. .NET take it from the Nuget repository. These are all public repositories basically, where anyone can go ahead and keep their reusable components there. Okay, and Azure Artifacts is free for every organization up to 2 gigabits of storage, basically 2 GB of storage. That means if you create an organization in Azure DevOps, up to 2 GB of storage, it will be free. After that, it will be billed basically. So for practice purpose, it is more than enough. Okay. What are the other artifact tools I was talking about? Sonatype Nexus. This is one famous artifactory tool. Okay. You call it as a repository, Nexus repository. Okay. Or we call it Azure Artifact Repository as well. So this is one tool. What you can, you can spend, uh, a couple of minutes reading through this basically. Though it is artifactory, it is a part of your DevOps tool chain, right? So that's why you can see the flow as well here. If I had to quickly talk about it, you can see developers write their code, okay, source code repositories, etc. You have the developer, they will basically so you have all these different programming languages, right? Java, .NET, Conga, etc., etc. Okay. And it will go to the Nexus repository. Okay, and it caches basically. Cache means if it is external repository, what happens? It may take some, let us say, 1 minute or a half a minute to download the library based on the storage. When you're using the tools like Nexus repository or Azure Artifacts, etc., they basically closer to your working location, and they cache some of the tools. Like frequently used libraries as well. It knows how to do it basically. You don't need to tell it. Okay, so your downloading time will be lesser basically. Okay, and you can create a folders for the staging and production, etc., etc. as well. And how do you build and push it to the repositories? Artifacts using CI pipeline. Okay, we can spend a couple of time, a couple of minutes to go through these things. Okay, so that you will have a, you see, this guy is also, even this product sonatype is also comparing himself with the jfrog artifact. So jfrog is another company where they provide artifactory tool basically. You can go and check this. Okay, we have both a cloud version and a self-hosted, means on-premise version as well. Okay, you guys can download and do it. Means once you learn Azure Artifacts, it is nothing much to learn here. It's a tool where you can keep your artifacts. See, for code, you have source code management tools, right? Like we are using Azure repos, you have the GitHub, Bitbucket, TFS, etc. But that is a text files, and SCM's source control management tools are meant for managing your code which is in text format. But when it comes to the artifacts, these are not text basically. It can be image, it can be your exe, it can be jar. So you need special capabilities to index and to manage those kind of files basically. That's why you go with tools like Azure Artifacts, Nexus, JFrog Artifact, etc. Okay, people may argue, hey, I can keep the same thing in my SCM as well. You can keep it, nobody can stop you from doing it, but your performance will be degraded, because SCM is not meant for maintaining large binaries like DLLs, EXEs, etc. Okay. you can spend some time there, but come back and see how we can now push package the code of our developers reusable component code, and then push it to the Azure Artifacts and let other developers to consume it actually. Okay, so without waiting, let's go to Visual Studio. Before I come here, basically I created a one sample project for this, that is email features. This is a class library. Okay, so your reusable components will always be class libraries. It will never be your, what do you say, ASP.NET application, or any web application. Reusable components means something in the back end, right? So you have to use a class library. You means the developer basically. That's in .NET. If it is Java, they create a jar files for reusable components. Okay, so how do you create a, for Selenium we already created a, desktop application, right? A class library basically. If you want to see it one more time, I'll quickly show. Create a new project, and this is the project type. You select class library. Okay, if it is web application, you select ASP.NET Web. Okay, it is a class library. So it is simple. It looks like this. People will go and write their code here. You can see only one class file is there, class1.cs. That's it. Now developers will go and extend this to write their code. Okay, let me exit this. So I have created one class library project, and I named it as email features. And what is the reusable functionality that I have? If you double click this, so I have my class called personal details in this project, and likewise people will go ahead and create a number of classes basically. Okay, and I have one method, create full name. What it will take first name and last name as arguments, and it will concatenate and return the full name basically. Just giving some simple example. Okay, this is my reusable because this is a very frequently used feature or functionality in any application, taking first name and last name and concatenating it. Okay, or taking full name and splitting into first name last name. So my reusable functionality is here. So if I have to share this with any other application to use in their a project, what I have to do, I need to build it. Okay, once I build it, I will get my DLL. Okay, so where I can see, you can go and go to the physical folder, right? Right click, open folder in file explorer, and you go to bin. You see DLL. This is the DLL. I have to copy, and generally if I have to share it with anyone, what I do, as I told you, I'll keep it in uh, some folder. Okay, and then I'll go and give access to specific people, right? I am not in Active Directory, so I don't get anybody here. Basically, you go and add it and give read access to them. This is how we share it with the people, right? But this is not a right way, as I told you. We discussed about the disadvantages. Now, we, we asked this guy, developer, to push it in the Azure repos so that you can create a CI pipeline for this to push it to the Azure Artifactory basically. Okay, I already pushed it. You can see. It's already in SCM in our Azure repos. I can go and open directly from here, right? Let me check if I pushed it or sync it. Yeah, it's there. Let me open www.azure.com. Online reservation system. Go to repos. Okay, you can see I created another repository called email features. Into that I pushed my project email features. Okay, all you see is only personal details where you have this code basically, right? This is what you see. Okay, now what we do, we go and create a CI pipeline for this. Okay, go and create a pipeline, create a new pipeline, use classic editor and email features project, continue. So as I said, it is a class library, right? You need to select this template .NET Desktop. From here, I mean, you can see, I mean, select this Windows 2019. That means you take the latest Visual Studio and solution. You can we have as I said, in a project repository you have only one solution. You can leave as this. This is what you selected, agent job. This also you don't need to worry. It automatically takes care of all these what are the prerequisites to be installed on the virtual machine, right? Because in the background your Visual Studio, your Azure DevOps create a virtual machine, and then use Nuget. Okay, I'm going to use this version only, but I'm going to get some exception because this is a older version, basically 441. There are many Nuget versions after this. Software. This is a software, right? Basically, to install Nuget version. You can see. See, you can see latest of 5.8, 5.3. There are many latest packages basically. Okay, you can go and check on the nuget.org website itself how many versions are there. You can see the latest it seems 5110. Okay, that's okay. I will once we get the error, I will change it. Okay, these are common Nuget installing Nuget plot software and the agent, and then using that agent to restore the packages referred in this solution. Okay, but what I'm going to and then I'm not going to create a proper CI pipeline for this. Means having your what do you say, sonar cube analysis, etc. We already seen that, so that's the reason I'm just removing all these things. I don't need this. I'm not going to publish any symbols. Symbols means, I mean, if I come here, not sure if I explained this or not. Along with DLL, I have some other file called .pdb with the same name. This is called a symbol basically. Means if you are using a Visual Studio or your any IDEs, no, you are debugging the application, right? For debugging purpose, Visual Studio create this kind of files in the backend basically. Okay, if it doesn't have this file, developers will not be able to debug their application, but your actual functionality will be in this. So this you call it as a symbol basically. Okay, that's the only one. But as I told you, in our production environment or in any our servers, we don't deploy the applications with symbols. Means, as I told you, you have to use a release mode. Okay, that's what I explained earlier itself. Okay. Let me come back here. So let me remove this one as well. We don't need this, or you can disable as well. Rest you need it, because once you build it, you need to copy files to this some artifactory staging directory, which you cannot see it. Okay, because this is all happens in the backend, and then you copy that to artifactory drop folder in uh, you know in our Azure pipelines. Okay, or you can download it as well after this. Okay, you don't need to change these things I explained earlier. Okay, now how do you this is a standard one, right? This is only for building your application and generating the artifacts. But how do you put your your reusable component artifact into artifacts? This is the artifacts basically. You can see on the left hand side. Let me change this name to artifacts. Okay. So you have to add additional Nuget tasks here. Go ahead and add Nuget. Add, click this, add this, and add one more task. So far, you've been using downloading Nuget platform or installer, and then using restore command. We have other commands as well in uh, Nuget basically. So you have to keep these things after the build solution. So now you can, let's go to Nuget, first Nuget task, and change this one to pack basically. Okay, so the command is pack. Okay, so after getting the artifacts from my build solution, after the compilation, I'm going to pack them, and I need to pack them in a format that nuget.org understands basically. So you need to use a pack, and then you need to give the path to CS project. Okay, sometimes there might be multiple projects, right? So it is always better to, I mean, in a solution file you will have a number of projects sometimes, but you need to select which project to be used. You can go ahead and select the project name. Okay, and these are variables. You can leave it, build configuration artifact staging directory. That's what you see here. Default ID, default variables. Okay, and I'm not sending any parameters, and this is the specification. Sorry, where it is here. Packing options. How do you want to versioning basically automatic package versioning? You can do some versioning versioning criteria as well. You can use date and time. You can use a build number. Let's use a build number probably. Okay. You will see what is that versioning basically, and then Nuget register. So this packing is done, and then after packing, I need to push it to Azure Artifacts basically. Okay, this is where we will do something. So first change this command to push. Okay, as soon as I selected push, all these things changed. How, I mean, all the required commands have been available here now. Okay, where I am pushing to target feed location, this organization or collection or external Nuget server. That means if you want to push this server to external server, like external Nuget data, what you see here. Okay, then you will select this one. But if you want to push it to our internal one, like internal Nuget artifact, internal Azure Artifactory, then you have to use this organization collection, and then you need to select a feed. Hey, where you want to keep it basically. Okay, that's okay. But we haven't created any feed basically. So let me open this artifacts in another tab. Okay, I'm going to use online reservation system. I'm not putting in that. Okay, I'm putting it here, online reservation system. Click on artifacts. So you have to create a feed basically. Okay, click on create. Say online artifact. So can give any name like this. Okay. Now this feed is public and will be accessible by anyone on the internet. To create a private feed, start from a private project basically. You know why? You remember I made our project as a public project. You remember because of the what is it? Because of the sonar cube restrictions or sonar cube requirements basically. Okay. So right now this project, this feed will be scoped to the online reservation system. You can see the scope. But if you want all the other projects also need to be uh, accessing this one, you can select the organization. Okay. Let's say create. A feed is being created. Right now this is empty. You can see there is nothing here. Okay, in the online artifacts. Okay. And you have some settings here on the right hand side. This is similar thing. This is consistent basically. If you want to do any settings, each and every feature will have this kind of icon. Click on this one. Here you can see, hey, retention policy is also there. How many days you want to keep? Okay, once we push it, then we will come here basically. Okay, that will be a better time to explain this. Okay, right now you can see online artifact feed is created and this is empty. Okay, let's go back to our pipeline. Now let me refresh this. I got my online artifact store feed. Okay, that's it. I have used Nuget pack command to pack into a Nuget format, and then I used Nuget push to push the artifacts packed into my feed basically. Okay, let me go ahead and save. Thank you. So I'm expecting this to be failed. The reason, I'm using the older version of Nuget installer 441, and my code contains uh, some functionalities like string, I mean some data types which are not supported. Let me see basically. Okay, this is so you are going to create the same CI pipeline, but in addition you are adding Nuget pack and push commands to push into artifacts, Azure artifacts. And other things that I am not using it here is our sonar cube related functionality, because that's not the purpose of this table. But in general, you will have even sonar cube integration as well, because that is important for each and every project for the quality of code purposes. Okay. Now you see, Nuget pack is failed basically. So what it is saying, let me take this error, copy. Okay, could not find version number data in the following environment. Okay, the value of the variable should contain substring with the following formats: X, Y. Okay, we are trying to do a versioning, but we did not complete that, it seems. Okay, let me go here, edit this pipeline. Where is that versioning we did? Package option, right? Here, right? Let me just put it off for the time being, so that will come later here. Okay, because automatic versioning anyways will be there, but let me build it first. Hey, now you see the actual error. Copy. What it is saying, unable to cast object of type system dot string type to Nuget framework, because we are packing our artifacts into Nuget framework, right? So it is saying unable to do it. See, guys, nobody knows what is the fix, right? We have to go by the documentation. Okay, so that's the reason I googled it, and I came to know that I'm using the wrong version of Nuget basically. So I mean, it is suggested that we need to use the latest version. Okay, instead of 441, I'll use 511 basically. Okay, 5.11.0. There are many other versions after that one as well, but they are in preview basically. 5.11.0. You can see it automatically changed here. You see, okay, that's all. Say save. Okay. You can see it is still be empty because it failed, right? It is still empty. Okay. Now go and show this. See, packing is now completed. You didn't get that error. Now it is pushing basically. It just, I mean, while it is happening, I told you guys, to go through these lines. I mean, in the logs, it helps you a lot. What happens in the backend basically, these logs. Okay. Now you see, this is completed. Means artifacts are ready. Okay. You can see the artifact here as well, right? What is produced. You click this. So email features dot 1.0.0. NUPKG. So this is in general, right? What you see, email features. This is for deploying to our. Yeah, if it is if it is not PKG, you see that zip file, right? Now you see email feature dot this one, and this is what you're going to see here. If I refresh this, see email features version 1.0.0. Okay, just now it is pushed basically, and you can see number of downloads here as well. Okay, okay, now my email features reusable component is available in Azure Artifacts. Now how the other developers can go ahead and use it in their application, let us say, uh, let me open our other project, close this. Visual Studio, let's go and you take our your journeys. Okay, so think that our this team need to have that functionality so that they don't need to rewrite that code basically. Okay, so what they do, so anyone wants to use that, generally anyone wants to reuse any component, they go to manage Nuget packages, right? If you remember, and that's where you see you can go and search. Earlier we used Selenium, right, which is from the Nuget. You can see all these things, and these are from the, and where this configuration is done, you can see on the right hand side, package source is nuget.org. Okay, how do you configure this? Generally by default it comes configured for you when you install the Visual Studio, but if you want to do, you can click on this settings icon. It will take you to these options. I mean, if you, the way you go to tools and options, it will come here. Under Nuget Package Manager, you have the package sources. So it is configured default for you. Now the thing is that I have my own artifactory like Nuget.r, okay, internal to my organization. Okay, so I ask my developers to consume my email features reachable component, but they don't know how to consume it. I don't want them to I don't want them to download, or I don't want to give them physically, right? Keeping in shape folder. Now the way you configure, I mean, the Nuget.org is configured here. In the same way, we need to configure our feed as well here. Okay, how do you do? What you do basically, you give a URL of this feed to the developers basically, and they need to have the permission to access it as well. Okay, how do you see that? Go to the feed settings, permissions. Okay, who all can access this basically? Okay, I am the owner, and your build, your project administrators, these are all the roles what you see in your project, right? Project settings basically, administrators, project administrators, even build service means the build pipeline service basically. Okay, project collection build service, and then contributors, all the contributors of your project, this online travel project will be able to take it basically. So you already have it all these things. If there are any additional people, you can go ahead and search for them and add it here basically. As simple as that. Okay. Now I have, say I'm the person, right, who is using it. I'm already having access because I'm the owner and I'm part of contributors as well. Okay. This is important. If someone is not able to do it, you need to do that. Okay. And now go back to your packages. This one there. Click this. So once you click it, you will get a connect to feed option basically. Okay, click this. When you click it, uh, you can see all these options. If the developer is using Visual Studio for the development, click on the Visual Studio, and there is a name and a source option here. On the source, you copy the URL here basically. Click on this, and then give this or email this to your developers to use it. And once you give it to the developers, they can ask them to go ahead and add this source into this package sources. Click on this plus icon, you will have this in the bottom. In the source, you give it, paste that one, and you can give the name anything. Okay, uh, you can give the same name as well, or on whatever, it doesn't matter name. URL is important. Okay, and then say update. Once you update, you see this has been updated here, and then say okay. That's what developers have to do. Okay, the other developers. Okay, now in the package sources, because your project need reusable components from Nuget.org, and then from you as well, you can see your repo here as well, online reservation repos. Ask them to put always basically. Now I can go and search for email features. You can see here email features by email features company. Okay, and you can see this uh, you can see this option to install as well, right? Click on this. Once you click on install, it is similar to how you are downloading it from Nuget. There is no difference. Okay, it is completed. You can see the finished. Now where I can see, you can see something is added, some file is added, that's why it became tick mark. Where you can see references, email features, you see this is being added here. Now developers can go ahead and reuse this function. How do they use it? Let us say, very simple, I'm showing you. I mean, it takes hardly a couple of minutes to show it. Let us say in home controller, I want to use this functionality. uh, People have to go and say using, this is a namespace, people call it as a namespace or project name. Okay, I want to use it in some of these pages. Let us say here I have the class email features dot personal details is my class. I'm going to create an object. As I told you, if you want to use any functionality that is created in the class file, you need to create an instance of that class. Means you need to create an object of that class. Otherwise, you cannot use the functionality that is available in the DLL. Okay. So again, you have to do that. Guys, you don't worry. I mean, this is a developer activity. I'm just showing you for your reference. Okay. And then I'll get the method name. Create full name is the method name, reusable, and I have to send some parameters. Space, and the second parameter is the last name. Okay. So I will reuse it here somewhere. Let us say I will put it here. Full name. So this will be visible in my about page. Let me go ahead and run this. There is some issue. Let me see this. Personal details. What will use this? I have to give like this only. Got it, got it. The syntax one. I have to use a new keyword, okay, and then email features, personal data. This is how the syntax works, okay. Now you see there are no issues, okay. Let's run this. I'm switching between many programming languages, so sometimes I get confused. So if you go to about, you see this is output, right? Purnachandra.k. So this is a very simple example, but if for you DevOps engineer, it doesn't matter how big that functionality is. Basically, for you, it's all about what is that project, uh, and in which field you need to put it, and give that URL to your developers, so that they can configure their Visual Studio to download the artifacts, and you manage the permissions of that artifacts as well. Okay, and some other things. If you go to artifacts, you can manage basically uh, ver- if there are multiple versions, you can see it basically every time you change a version, you will have another another entry coming here. Connect to feed you already said. Let me quickly do that versioning as well. Let us say some new functionality has come here. Okay, let's go here, come here, probably go to files. Okay, email features, this one, edit, probably let us say just for some changes. Okay, so something is changed. Okay, and you go to your pipeline. Okay, pipelines. This is the one that we used. Edit. So how do you version it? So go here, pack, and let us say you can use a date and time, and you can say an environment variable as well. Okay, let us say you use environment variable, it will take it from here, whatever you define here. Basically you can see enter variable name. Okay, whatever you define here you can use it. Okay, that is one way. Again, still it will become what do you say, some manual, right? Rather than that, I want to use a build number basically. Okay, when I use build number I was getting an issue, right? So it is saying that you did not define the versions, etc. So let's go to options. Build number format is this one. This has to be used basically. Whatever we have here should be used there. This should come. Let me go ahead and save. I'm just going to artifacts in another tab. So it is giving me the build number value of the variable should contain a substring within some format issue it is giving. Okay, probably I'm missing something when I use that XYZ. I'm just not getting an option there. That's where let's quickly do this. Okay. Okay, it is explaining. So if I use date and time, I'm getting what is the major version, minor version. This is how versions will be maintained. Major means for any major change, you will change the number. Minor means some any bug fixes or small improvements you will give it. Patch means you did some bug fixing and released it. Then that's where you change the number basically. Let us say I'm having it some minor change. This is general uh, analogy, or that's how people work when you're versioning. Okay, let me use this. Save. Now 110 is the version. Yes. Major, minor, patch. Before this artifacts, right? Azure Artifacts. It was a very long process to package your reusable component and push it to get data kind of stuff basically. People take it 3-4 days as a big process. Now it has become a simple CI pipeline, adding NuGet push and pack options. People who worked in earlier days, right? They know the difficulty and easiness basically. Whoever started now, I mean, they don't know the difficulty that exists earlier. Now you see there were no issues when we using that one. Let me see that artifact basically, our online artifact store. Let me refresh it. Okay, you can see it updated version 110, and then you have CA some build number as well. What is the option we used here? We use a date and time, and then major minor patch stuff basically, and that's what you see. Date and time, major minor also. So it automatically did it for you basically. Okay, we'll see what is that one. You can explore it. I mean, the other option why I'm getting an error, like other than date and time, environment variable easy. I mean, you just need to give that variable name. Bill number, when you use bill number, you are having that issue, right? Just check that basically. You can also. Okay. Uh, so now a new version is updated. Developers, the other advantage, right? Developers don't need, you don't need to, I mean, if it is a manual, people need to email them. A new version is available. But if it is an artifactory, then all they need to do is when they refresh it, basically, sorry, let me stop this. Okay, it's all automatic. When you build it, basically, it automatically takes the latest version. Okay, it should be. Let's run this. If it is not, probably we need to refresh this. Developers need to refresh it. Okay, it's not. Let me close this. Then developers can go to, right click, manage Nuget packages, and then they have this, right? They have this. Okay, and it should give me the other version as well. That's we have the latest version, right? It has to be available there. It is taking long time. Let me keep this. Okay, because your Nugget art may have many. You can see online reservation system. You have a new one basically in the updates. If you go here, it is now it updated basically. You can see. Okay. Now if I want my application to be updated with this latest, they can simply say update. Okay. It took some time to refresh it. Okay. Finished. Now if I run this, you see the one is added right to the output. That's what I made change in our code basically. So this is, I mean, as simple as like this basically. Now you have 100 teams or 200 teams or 500, doesn't matter. Everybody has a can configure their Visual Studio to use this repo. And if the original developer of this component made a change and push the latest version to the Artifactory, he can simply, I mean, the other developers can simply go and update it. No other communication is required. So guys, this is how you can use Azure Artifacts to share the reusable components of developers with other developers in other projects or even other organizations as well. Or you can make it even public. Anyone has access, has the URL, they can download it actually. And all those things can be, permissions can be maintained from the feed settings. Okay. And you want to delete, you can delete. And you can enable package retention as well. How many days you want to keep this package, after that it will delete. Basically, you can say maximum number of versions, how many versions you can keep it, maximum 20. How many days you want to keep this package, up to 30 days. So you can keep the retention policies as well. You can read these things, these are self-explanatory. Okay, this card I'm not making any change. Okay. uh, so that's about Azure Artifactory for sharing the developers artifacts with other teams or other organizations. Any questions?
No problem.
Okay, you got the concept.
Yeah, yeah.
What is this? Yeah. If you're having n number of it becomes very crazy basically. And people, one team will have one version, other team will have another version as well. And that's where, you will get regression issues as well, right? Uh, because of the changes in the code or changes in the functionality of the reusable component, etc. So this is a very good mechanism. And you see, it's very easy to package and push it to the Artifactory as well. If you go and search some material online, right, how you used to do it at, 5-6 years ago, it's a lengthy process because I came through that process basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for today, Azure Artifacts. Tomorrow, okay, let me stop this recording. Thank you.